All right, let's see. So we got kind of, I actually think I don't hate the light. As I mentioned, I got a new ring light. I'm still trying out different setups with it, but I think I found one that I like. The light sort of behind the table coming down on me, lights all the things, not too many shadows. What's up, guys? How we doing? Welcome to episode 69. I'm very excited about episode 69 just because. Um, and it happened to coincide with something that I actually want to talk about today. So I'm very excited for a number of reasons. So there was, Dave and Sham put out a video today talking about, wanting things to be easy. And I've been thinking a lot about just savior addiction in general. These past couple of weeks, past month or so, we out here in Los Angeles is now back to phase one. We've closed down the gyms, we've closed down the restaurants, we've closed down the nail salons. Like all the progress that we made kind of got undone in the past, like sort of the last 2 weeks of June, first week of July, which is unfortunate, but also not totally unforeseen. Especially when you consider the proximity to Arizona. Arizona is a complete fucking disaster basket mess. As I mentioned in my last video, like if you are in Arizona, please, for the love of God, stay safe. Wear a goddamn mask. Oh my God, it's real scary out there. And if you have to drive through Arizona, don't. Like I'm gonna just say, don't. Figure out a way. Go above. Go through Colorado. Colorado, Nevada, like whatever you got to do. Like Arizona is not where you want to be right now. So PSA out of the way. In all of this, and just a lot of like internal processing of like, oh shit, yeah, we gotta like go back to March, even though it's July. On the one hand, it's fine in some ways, because we've already done March before. Like this is not as frustrating as it is to go back to what we had to do in March and, shut things down and whatever. We've at least done it once before. And so the system, like I can revisit the systems that I had in place then and go, oh, okay, well, what did I do in March to make this bearable? And I was like, okay, well, I did a lot of walking. I made videos. I can, I've been launching on my own personal Facebook page. So like, okay, yeah, this isn't totally insurmountable, right? And, obviously like that approach is very much like, hello, savior OI, right? Like what used to work, let's go back to that, right? But just in general, just thinking about like, savior addiction and why they're useful, why they're not useful, what purpose do they actually serve in what context. And I think, thinking about like the biggest thing that I've really been thinking about is, so I consider, let me put it this way, for a really long time, I considered myself a moderate, politically speaking. My parents are slightly left leaning, I guess, but like they also voted for Bush in 2004. And like we have a lot of slightly right leaning conservative ish friends. And the school that I went to was pretty liberal in a lot of ways, but also pretty conservative when it came to sex and gender dynamic. Like, so again, I was like, all right, I used to consider myself very, very much in the middle. The political landscape has changed dramatically since then. But as a result, so I was like, well, I guess I'm, more on the liberal side of things, given this current political whatever the fuck we're in. And so what that meant is that I spent a lot of time around what I am going to shorthand as internet progressives. That's not all I hung around, but that, look, the activist community in New York, the art community in New York, very left leaning. And I have been just really trying to reflect and process what being in that environment did to my psyche and to my sense of self, and like being able to see where they were coming from and understanding the ways in which they were channeling their pain, but also doing so in a way that was kind of destructive, and also like reinforcing their own place in the hierarchy. One thing that I saw was like a particular cohort would be like, well, I'm sort of in second place to straight white men, right? So I'm going to do what I can to reinforce the fact that I'm in second place, because that keeps me safe, right? Because then I'm always going to be a little bit of an underdog, but I'm still above lots and lots of other people. So like I'm going to behave in such a way that reminds everybody like, hey, I'm in second place, and conveniently ignore that like there are many places below second place you can be. I'm being somewhat vague on purpose because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I don't want to call it anybody's business on this YouTube channel. But there's a lot of toxicity in a lot of internet groups. And it is not just liberals. It is not just conservatives. It is not just one special interest group. It is not just one other special interest group. Like, that's just how internet communities happen. Like, there is toxicity in there that has to be addressed, because humans gonna human. But in all of this processing, I think about the ways in which it was really, really hard for me to get out of that culture. So like, I actually don't talk to 90% of the people who I considered my very good friends in 2018. And that's fucking weird to me. And a lot of those people were very, very politically active. And I'm like, I can't. Like, we're not on the same page anymore. Your energy isn't nourishing me for what I need in my life right now. Like, you're not, this is not a good environment for me to grow in the ways in which I need to grow, right? Is sort of the very short version of it. And I think about like, how did I get stuck there, right? And why did I get stuck there? And I think that in looking back on it, I think that we paint savior addiction as a little more one-dimensional than it deserves to be painted. So I want to sort of flesh out my view on savior addiction and why somebody might stay addicted to their saviors when they know they shouldn't. And in particular, when they try to make a change, why that change is so difficult beyond what we think of as being the obvious reasons of like ego and whatever and bullshit and this and that, right? And here's what I think it really comes down to. So I'm going to use my example of my job. And while I do this, I'm going to be eating. I got some eggs. Oh, wow. Thank you, ring light, for completely blowing out this plate. Well, there are eggs on here, right? You can kind of see them. Boy, this just looks white as hell. Okay. Doing this on purpose. Sure got my eggs. Incidentally, I had a pancake this morning for breakfast too. So now I am just a Jewel song. Did not have maple syrup. But I got my coffee. All right, so I got my eggs and my coffee. And there's a reason for this. So just keep in mind eggs and coffee, right? So at my old job, when I was working for the tutoring company, my niche, my role, my whatever, was I got slotted into this sort of disruptor role. Because the company had been around for 30 years. A lot of the processes had ossified. They hadn't been reevaluated since the late 90s. It was a very analog company that was basically able to sustain itself. It wasn't making money hand over fist in the past 5 years, like once the internet happened. But like for all of the 90s and for all of the the early 2000s, This place was just making fucking money. Just fucking money. And a lot of why I was able to do that was just brand recognition. It was the first company in the game. There were like New York Times write-ups about that. Like, it was a very, very real company in the 90s and the early 2000s. Like, it was the fucking tutoring company. And then the internet happened and technology started to change and started to affect the way business was done and how communication happened between not just parents and tutors, right? Because before you didn't want, people just didn't have cell phones. In the late 90s, having a cell phone was not a given. Like, maybe you had like a T9 flip phone, but we just weren't there yet technologically 20 years ago. And so we had this office, and you needed, the parents would call the office, who would call the tutor, and things had to be set and appointments kept. It was very regimented. It was great. But we sort of kept that very regimented process into the 2010s. Once people started to have technology, and parents were just like, can I just fucking text the tutor? Like, can we just text now because that's just what we do? So my job as the disruptor person was, I started working there, doing curriculum, just sort of being around. And I was like, these processes are whack. Wait, what? No, we got to fix this. We got to fix this. We got to fix this. And the CEO was like, oh shit, we got Mr. Fix It on our hands. All right, just go break shit. Your job is to break things and fix them. And I'm just going to trust you to break things and fix them. Great. Cool. That's fine. But where I was at in my life, and I tried to communicate this, did not communicate this as effectively as I could have. That's partially on me. Fully own my responsibility in this. But I was like, okay, like, I want things, like, things are really uncertain right now. Like, I'm looking for this to be something stable, steady job kind of thing. So like, I'll deal with the chaos, but like, this needs to settle down. I want calm. I want just something real predictable because I still have other pursuits that I want to do, but I want this to sort of be the foundation of my life. And what ended up happening was there was so much rot in this company when I was working there that there was just a never-ending stream of things that needed fixing and things that needed to be disrupted. And at first I was like, yeah, I will happily take on this disruptor role. Like, let's fix this. We got to call out the problems in order to be able to address them. I'm into it. I'm about it. I'm here for it. And then over time, I gave everybody the impression that I was good at doing this, that I liked doing it, that I was comfortable doing this, that I liked the chaos. I did not. I tried to communicate as best I could. This is not my jam. Whatever. That's a different story. But like, the fact of the matter is my niche in this company was to be an agent of chaos. That was my job, quite explicitly, was to go in and cause chaos and shake things up and figure out what the fuck wasn't working so that we could fix it. Okay, great. So as soon as I started to really lean heavily into this, like, I need things to calm the fuck down. I cannot deal with this chaos anymore. That's not where I'm at in life. Well, the wheels started to come off. And in my mind, I thought I was communicating clearly enough that I wanted the calm. I still maintain I was communicating that as clearly as I was able to at the time. There were other systematic factors that kept my words from being fully heard and processed. But once I really started to be like, no chaos. I need predictability. I need role clarity. I need to know what the fuck I'm going to do every day. Broadly, vaguely, like, I need to have some sense of predictable responsibilities. And basically, it was the conversation between me and my boss, the CEO, and we're like, she's like, I need you to be like, we have other people in this organization that are filling the niches, the tribe roles of calm, predictable, do what they're told. We need you in a more chaotic, flexible, amorphous, ambiguous role. Is that something you're up for? And I was like, no, I'm not. They're like, well, this is no longer a good fit. And I was like, fair enough. And I think back to that whole interaction. And it comes back to these eggs in this coffee, right? Because here's the thing. So the way that I cook my eggs, as per my nutritionist, is I cook with a decent amount of butter and salt. God damn. Hey, it just tastes good. Like, eggs and butter and salt, man. Like, that's just satiating. Like, it tastes good. And one of the things that I talked about with my nutritionist is if I cook with more butter and salt, I'm not going to want potato chips as much. I'm not going to have these cravings for rice and grain and bread and things that like make me gain a lot of weight, that don't make me feel good, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, all right, word. But along with that, along with the salt and the fat and the heat, I also need acid, right? Which is why I have started to drink my coffee black, because I need and like and am craving the acidity in the coffee to balance out the fat and the salt and the heat in the eggs. Same thing when I cook my peas, right? I got the frozen peas that I like. I'll put some butter in there too because I need the fat, right? But if I don't put salt and fat, now they're just like weird fatty peas. And if I just put the salt, they're like salty, and I'm going to like, Golden Corral, some buffet thing, and it's just like mono salt, and it's disgusting. You need both. You need the salt and the fat and the acid and the heat. There's a whole fucking book about it that you can't see because it's off camera. But like, you need that balance. So if I'm coming to the party and, I get hired in this role as, all right, you're Mr. Coffee. You are acid man. You are here to provide the antidote for the buttery, creamy, salty, goodnessy eggs. You're Mr. Acid Man. And if I start rolling up one day and starting to put cream in my coffee, well, now I'm not doing my job. Because that's not my job. My job is to be Mr. Acid, Mr. Antidote to the eggs. So if I start trying to add cream to my coffee, well, then I'm not being as effective at my job. Right? And it's not the eggs' fault. It's not even my fault, right? If I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, I started off wanting to be just like mono acid, but for my own sense of coffee self, I just need some cream in my coffee. Like, that's like my best version of me, of my version of coffee, involves a little cream. And if you need somebody who's just coffee black, I can't help you. Like, that's not what I bring to the table. That's not what I want to bring to the table. But like, I got to live my truth, right? And I think about that in this idea of role clarity in the context of personal growth and savior addiction, because whether we like it or not, we all fill social roles as well. It's why the premise of the Breakfast Club exists, right? And if you are if you are in a social environment where the niche that you fill is, to be Mr. Black Coffee Guy in a sea of cream coffee guys, the people will behave a certain way, and like your presence affects the room. Whether you want it to or not, whether you like that it does or not, doesn't fucking matter. Everybody in the room affects the room. It affects the dynamic of the room. So, you all of a sudden diluting your coffee when before you were like the breath of fresh air who was just like, you know what, we're all cream coffee guys, but that motherfucker, he's black. Like, he is just black coffee, and he's a nice reminder that, like, you know what, maybe we don't need so much cream all the time, right? Conversely, if you're a cream coffee guy and you go into an environment that's just all black coffee, well, the people who are black coffee, like, they're going to be turning up their acidity and experiment, like trying to grow in that direction because they're trusting you to fill the cream coffee niche. And so if all of a sudden you're now violating the social contract, if you're like, you know what, I think I want to be a little more black coffee. Like, I think cream coffee, like, I think that's not really my jam, right? Well, then all of a sudden, the dynamic of the room has to respond to that. I think about, it's weird. This is a whole other video, but I have always felt really, 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 really comfortable in heavily gendered environments. What I mean by that is I feel super comfortable in a room full of women. If you put me in, if it's like me and 10 women, I'm the fucking happiest dude alive. Conversely, or similarly, if you put me in a room with 10 guys, I am also the happiest dude alive. Because I understand my role in each of these environments. And it's clear and it's understood. I'm not jockeying for position. I'm not jockeying for social leverage. If I'm in a room full of women, my job is to bring masculine energy to the room to keep the room from getting too moon energy dominant. Like, my sun energy's got to come in and be like, okay, but hang on a second. If you have a problem with this person, you got to just tell them. No. This is really affecting you. It's on you to communicate your boundaries clearly, because she can't respect a boundary if she doesn't know it exists, right? Like, coming in with that Karamo masculinity, right? There's clarity there. And on the flip side, if I'm in a room full of dudes, my job is very, very much to be like kind of the cream coffee guy in a room full of black coffee, right? And I'm walking around as Mr. Cream Coffee Guy with a pitcher of creamer in my other hand, right? So if things get a little sharp, a little acidy, I can be like, hang on a second, guys. Maybe try a little cream in your coffee. I think you'll like it better. They're like, oh shit. Word. Yeah, because then it does cut the acid and I can appreciate the acid and the cream, and like it does a whole thing together, right? Fucking food chemistry and shit. So you got to know like the way in which your presence affects the room. And here's where that can be really, really challenging, especially in the context of savior addiction. If you went into a space using your saviors and you were rewarded socially for using those saviors, and now all of a sudden you're trying to work on your demons, well, that's not your job in the tribe. Not your role. Your role is not to do your demons, because you went into this arrangement, this social agreement, doing your saviors. Well, now you got a real fucking problem. Because now, we talk about like tribe hate, and there is like a corollary to this, which is the crab mentality, which is if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket together, the only reason the crabs don't tip over the bucket is because they just bring any crab that tries to escape, the other crabs bring them down, which is why you can keep crabs in a bucket, even though it seems like you shouldn't be able to. And I think that, sure, there absolutely is a part of that, that can be a component to it. But I think that in a lot of situations, it's the tribe resists your changing because they recognize the role that you have agreed to fill in the tribe. And now all of a sudden, you're trying to change this contract. You're changing the social contract by working on your demons. And that's a really tough thing to navigate. I remember, and I talked about this a little earlier. I talked about this in a lot of videos. Just my getting out of my nerdy communities and how difficult that was. And the reason that the wheels came off is that I entered those communities in my teens, early 20s, when I was all about the NT. Great, we're all doing the NT thing together. We can just live in NT La La Land, disrespect the SF, whatever, that's somebody else's job. That's the popular kids' job. That's the Stitch Fix people. That's not us. We're not SF people. We are NT and NF people. We don't respect the sensory. And for a while that worked, right? Cool, dope, fantastic. But then like, as I got into my later 20s, I started to be like, okay, well, can we SE a little bit? Like, I actually kind of want to do like the sensory thing, like a lot, like, cause that's rad as shit. Like, can I be in charge of the SE? And they're like, no, you're NT, right? We're doing the NT thing here. That's what we do. We don't do SF. And I'm like, okay, but I want to SF. And not only do I want to SF, nobody here is doing SF. And so I really think that this could be a really important niche for our group to fill if we add some more SF to it. And I would like to be the one to do it. Please let me do this thing. And they're like, nope, we need you to NT just like the rest of us. And I'm like, I got to go. Because the way in which I'm trying to grow, y'all are not supporting and being receptive to. And ultimately, I'm looking for balance. I'm looking for growth. I got to do me. I just can't be around or in an environment where my SF growth is going to get inhibited. Because what I ultimately want is I want to be able to lean really far into SF when I see fit. Because I'm trying to make those plateau jumps. I'm trying to be like, okay, I'm working on the SF. I'm working on the SF. Okay, I see an opening to fucking SF the hell out of it. Boom. Let's fucking go for it and see if we can reach that next level. And then either I get there or I don't. And if I don't, no worries. I'm like, all right, dope. Let's see what happened. And then I work on it some more. But what I ultimately want is I want to be in an environment and around people who are better at SF than I am and are begging me to fucking get with the program. That's the dream. I would love this, right? So, again, in thinking about all of that, being like, I need to be really, really cognizant of what role I bring to the table and what I lead with. Because here's the thing. How about this? Even in relationships, look, I have I'm going to say that 100, no, there's one relationship that like was going really well and I just fucked it up because I got weird about it. But the vast majority of relationships, what ended up happening is that I went in and set a certain set of expectations. The other person was like, yeah, we can work with this. I'm down with that. And then we did the thing for a little bit. And then I started to grow in a different direction. And they're like, whoa, I thought you were doing this thing. I thought we're doing this thing. And I was like, yeah, that's part of it. Like, that's part of who I am. But I also got this other part that is also really important to me. And they're like, oh, no, I'm here for this other thing. And I was like, well, you're going to get both, and you're only going to get one of them half the time. So if you want somebody who's 80-20, that is not me. Like I'm a latte. So they're like, well, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it's not that I was dishonest going into these relationships, whether it's, again, dating relationship, professional relationship, how about this? Even like a, if you're looking for an apartment, I am not a big partier at all. I do play music, play a lot of music. So one of the things that I have learned to ask is, hey, what are the quiet hours here? Are there other musicians in the building? If I play my guitar at, 7:30 at night, if I go all out and I'm singing and being a little loud at 7:30 at night, but I'm done by 8, is that going to be a problem? Right? Which brings me to the final point, which is that all of this shit, all of it, can actually just be solved with communication. It really, 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 really can. I think that a lot of rhetoric in the OP community that I have seen, I'm not going to say specifically Dave and Shan just because I haven't spoken with them about this particular topic, so I don't want to assume one position or another on them. But a lot of the rhetoric that I have observed is based on this foundation of everyone sucks at communicating. No one can say how they feel. Nobody has any idea what they want. We're all just flailing in the abyss. And talking to somebody human to human is not something you can ever expect. And I'm like, I want to question that premise. Because here's the thing. There are lots of humans in this world who I do not communicate well with for myriad reasons, right? How about this? The fact that I use words like myriad in everyday conversation, that is one of the myriad problems with my communication to some people, right? So I get that I have a very specific communication style. I can code switch totally. I can, adapt my communication style in bursts if that is useful, right? But I have a communication style. I have a default double feminine NT blaster communication style that just doesn't work for a lot of people. And that's totally cool, man. That is fine. It doesn't mean that, if the barista is, I'm just going to, ISFJ, SF, double masculine blaster. It doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, you're a double masculine ISFJ blaster. Well, we're never going to talk. No, obviously not. But does it mean that if I want to date this person, that we're going to have to get on the same page in terms of communication style and figure out a rapport that works for us where it doesn't feel like, I'm having to code switch all the time, and you're having to code switch all the time, and we just keep talking past each other, right? Yeah, that's going to take a little bit more time and dedication and whatever. And maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's surmountable based on how much you want it. Maybe it isn't. Like, whatever. It's fine. But it does come down to communicating your wants and needs. And, being able to go, if I started out playing the NT role in a particular community, and the camaraderie was built based on my playing the NT role and filling that niche. If I just start doing SF and bringing SF to the table, right? So again, just to continue the food analogy, also, I'm going to take another bite because, oh my God, these eggs are so fucking good. Oh my God. I could eat, if all I ate in life was eggs and butter and salt and coffee, I don't know that would be the healthiest diet, but I would not be mad about it. Oh, man. Sorry. Just had to indulge the SF for a second because... Anyway. If my job is to bring salad to a potluck and I become known for my salads, and then I just show up to the next potluck with a bunch of raw steak, and I'm like, hey, all right, where's your grill? I'm cooking steak now. That's just what I'm doing. Oh no, I didn't bring a salad because I'm steak guy now. Okay, well, here's the thing. Michelle already brought steaks, and she's already cooking steaks on the grill. And, Patty called ahead of time and said, hey, can I bring potato salad instead of green bean salad? And I said yes, because Raj is taking care of the green leafy salad shit. If you had called me and told me that you wanted to bring steak, maybe I could have accommodated. Maybe, or how about this? I would have said, you know what? Today, Michelle already got steak. She did this aged thing with them. She called the butcher. It was a whole fucking thing. She wants to try out the new steak thing. So Michelle's grilling steaks today, but I'll tell you what, let me talk to Michelle and see if she's down with you two switching off like every other week. You'll do the meat one week and she'll do the meat the other week. And like, if that's something you want to do, yeah, we could work something out. But you can't just fucking roll up to the potluck when people expect you to be bringing salad and roll up with raw steak and just expect people to be cool with it. That's not a reasonable expectation. So, yes, there is a component to savior addiction of feeling like, oh, well, I'm salad guy and I have to keep making salads, and yeah, I'm not getting as much protein in my diet as I want, and the way like she kind of undercooks the meat, and I don't know how to tell. Like, no. Like, you got to tell the people the things. You have to tell the people the things, because how about this? If you're avoiding, or how about this? Like, if you're putting chicken in your salad and diluting the saladiness of your salad, and then people are like, I mean, what happened to your salads? Like, that was like weird shit in it. There's like a chicken, and sometimes there's cheese and like black bean. Like, what is happening? Girl, what are you doing? And then it comes out, it's like, well, I've been, kind of low on protein myself lately. And I don't know, I've been trying to add protein to my diet. I actually need a lot more protein in my diet than I thought. Speaking to a nutritionist, talking to a number of people, like I just need more protein in my diet. And Michelle, she undercooks the steaks. Okay, let me stop you right there. Have you asked Michelle to cook the steaks a little longer? Does she know that you haven't been eating the steak because she's been undercooking it? No? Okay. Say, hey, Michelle, I got a favor to ask. I need to get more protein in my diet. Talk to my doctor. I am not a fan of super undercooked steaks. And I totally get that everybody else loves them. I'm not asking you to cook all of them super extra, but could you throw mine on just like 5 minutes before? Is that something you could do? And I bet you Michelle would be able to say yes. She'd be like, oh my God, totally. I didn't know that that's why you weren't eating my steak. Like, I thought you were mad at me. I thought you were like anti, like I wasn't even going to bring steak. Oh, if it's just that you need it cooked longer, shit, yes, obviously, I can cook it a little longer. You're good. Don't worry about it. I got you. Problem solved with communication, right? So I bring all of this up in the context of savior addiction is because I think the savior addiction is a lot more complicated than we give it credit for. Because humans are a lot more complicated than OP sometimes wants to give them credit for. And I think that it's very, very tempting to be like, all right, these are my parts. This is my function stack. This is my animal order. These are my sexual modalities. I got to fully self-actualize so that when other people fuck it up, I'm not responsible and I'm not going to get screwed because of somebody else's fuck up. Sure, that's reasonable. Being able to make a salad that has chicken in it, that doesn't have chicken in it, that's got some tangerines. Maybe sometimes you mix it up with some apple. Being able to go between a vinaigrette and a creamy dressing, right? Like, yeah, that's really, really important. Absolutely. But if your truth of salad is like, I believe that salad should be a full meal. That's where I'm at with salad, right? So I've gone through a number of different roles in this video. Thank you to any of you savior censors who have been able to follow my weird fucking analogy train. I appreciate you and I see you. I'm going to end with this. If I'm salad guy, my truth of salad, I like meaty salads. I like a good chef salad with some I like the ham and the bacon bits and the blue cheese and like the Swiss cheese. Like, I want a fucking salad meal. I believe that a salad can be a meal. Like, that's what I want to bring to the table. I want to bring salad meal to the potluck. Well, there are a lot of potlucks where they just don't want salad meal, where they're like, no, the way that we do it is like the salad, like that's the greens. Like, do whatever you want with the greens, but like keep it in sort of the like rabbit food realm, because we have somebody who fucking cooks the shit out of steaks. Michelle is a wizard on the grill with steaks. And then we got like bread guy over there. Like he has his own sourdough starter that's fucking insane. So like he just does that. Like, we have these other roles that are filled. Like, we need you to just be salad person. And if your role is like, you know what? I will trust my community to provide the protein and the fat and the bread and the other stuff. Like, yes, we are all going to lean on each other. My truth is the pure essence of salad. It's a good fit. If that's not your salad truth, then you got to communicate that. And you got to say, listen, I've been experimenting with some salads. I've been really vibing this salad with this meat. And I'll be honest, I've been talking to some other people. They're kind of digging it too. So moving forward, I want to include a lot of meat in my salad. It's still going to be a salad, but it's going to be filling. Like, it's going to have, cheese and chicken, and it's going to have tomatoes. Like, it's going to be a whole fucking thing. Are you cool with that? Because if you're not, that's totally fine. But this is my salad truth. So we need to have a conversation about this. And by having these transparent conversations, magic will happen. In the instance of Michelle, the entire fight was avoided. All of the Mishigas gone because you asked Michelle, hey, Michelle, can you throw my steak on 5 minutes early because I don't like it super rare? Done. Problem fucking solved. Problem solved. Just through communication. That's not an OP anything. That's not a, well, my feminine TE honored my demon masculine. No, fuck that. Just people being people. Hey, Michelle, would you mind putting my steak on 5 minutes before everybody else's? Happily. Done. Problem solved. So I think that it's important when you're thinking about savior addiction. Yes, you should fully self-actualize. Yes, you should respect all of your own parts, all of the parts that make humans humans, the differences and the gifts differing and all of that, right? But when you find that there is friction, when you feel that your growth is being inhibited, it is on you to communicate that. And it's on you to assess the situation and go, wait, what are they expecting of me? Because if they're expecting me to just be salad person, then I got to tell them that that's not my whole truth. Or conversely, how about this? How about I talk to Michelle? I'm like, hey, Michelle, would you mind putting my steak on 5 minutes earlier? And she's like, fucking steaks. And I can be like, what are you talking about? She's like, I've been really into salads lately, and I just feel like I can't bring salads because you're the salad person and your salads are awesome, but like, I don't want to just be steak person. Oh my God, Michelle, I've been wanting to get out of the salad game for a month. I envy your, like, steak is my truth. Like, I fucking love steak. She's like, oh my God, do you want to just like today is whatever, but like next week, like let's text and let's switch. Like, I'll teach you some steak stuff and like you can teach me salad stuff. Guys, now we're having community togetherness feeling. I wasn't expecting to get verklempt during this video. That wasn't the point. But now I'm verklempt because now we're sharing and we're being people together. And that's all that we need. That's all that we need. Humans are so good. I just really love humans, you guys. Really love humans.